Hi, this is Greg Stanley. I'm here with Wes Warren. We're from Whitehall Management. Today, we'd like to talk about the profile of an associate that will be a good fit in your practice. And I might add, who would be a bad fit? Wes, what do you know about that you can share?
So yeah, when we talk profiling, we want to talk about as it pertains to their career. Where are they at in their career? Because this is what a lot of doctors ask us. Most of the time when we talk career, we talk about their age, but really it's beginning of their career, middle of their career, end of their career. And so we get this question a lot. Should I hire somebody at the end of their career in their maybe 50s or 60s or should I go with somebody in the middle of their career or somebody that's new in dentistry? This is a hot topic, obviously, and a lot of people really don't know what works out the best. And I will say, Greg, it depends. It really depends on what you're looking for and what you have a tolerance for. As far as dealing with somebody that's near the end of their career, if you have no intentions in selling your practice anytime soon and you want to keep your practice, this person's a good candidate. This is not somebody I would write off, but if you're looking for somebody to transition to in time, that obviously you want somebody younger, somebody that's going to potentially want to buy the practice. So somebody at the end of their career is not looking to buy a practice. So that's usually the only reason why we would cross this person off the list is potential ownership. Otherwise, they're probably one of the best. They've worked through all the kinks. They know how to operate. They know what they like, what they don't like. One of the things that is frustrating sometimes is they're set in their ways. So if you're really expecting somebody to come in and do it your way, do procedures with your materials, you really want it done your way, this might be tough. The old saying, can't teach a dog new tricks. I do know that there are people at the end of their career that are willing to do whatever, but I know that a lot of them aren't, they want to do, it's what they've been trained on and they want to do it their way. So that's the only thing that I see as being a potential issue. But all that is just talk to them. In the interview process, they'll be straightforward with you that, no, I like it to do it this way. And so obviously that crosses that person off the list. So I have no problem with people near the end of their career. They tend to be great.
One of the values of a person with a track record is we kind of know what they're going to produce per hour, per month, or with the kind of patients maybe that we have, we can know their worth going in. Whereas the unproven, it's a dice roll.
The other thing that's great about somebody in this position is they tend to want to just work a couple days a week. So if you're looking for an associate a couple days a week, not somebody full time, these people are great and they're willing to cover you on your vacations. So when you want to go off for a week or two, they'll usually just step right in, especially if it's well planned, and pick up that time. A lot of people are a little worried about people near the end of their career. I'm not. For me, there's a lot of pluses, but those are the couple things that I would worry about. You don't have anybody to transition to, and you really got to be upfront. If them doing dentistry your way is important to you, you got to be upfront and talk about that and see if they're willing to compromise. So that's people at the end of their careers. Kind of people in the middle of their careers, out of everybody we interview, it's probably the person we see the least. We see obviously a lot of people at the beginning and a lot of people near the end. The people in the middle, we don't see a lot. And there's probably reasons for that. I mean, I could probably come up with, maybe they own practices. I would think that maybe why we don't see a lot of these people is people that are good associates, people that are productive, tend to go on and buy a practice. And so these people, I'm a little cautious on because of that, what I just said. Why don't, you're 45, you've been out of school for a little while. why don't you own a practice? Why are you an associate for
Okay.
20 years?
So that calls for an explanation.
Absolutely. Now there could be a good one, and that's fine. You know, I graduated late. We see that a lot. There's plenty of reasons why, but I would want to know why. Sometimes they owned a practice and, you know, they moved and they're setting up shop here. Now I'd be a little worried about that because that means that they're probably going to want to own again. We also will see people that will just be straight up with you and say, I owned a practice. I didn't like managing the staff. And I hated doing the payroll and everything. And I just want to be a dentist. And so I figured out what I love. And so I'm just going to be associate and I'm good with it.
Good
That's
answer.
That's what you want to hear. That profile is the perfect profile for our doctors doing AWOL, the AWOL system. For those of you who don't know what AWOL means, it's operating a practice with an associate, and you are optional. You can come and go as you please, and you got somebody in there producing.
Let's look at your third choice. Maybe the younger dentist, very new to the business.
Very new.
Yeah. This is a case where attitude's probably going to be everything. We're going to need to commit them to 3 years with us. It takes 3 years for an associate to stay in your office, or you're probably better off having not chosen them. So they got to have an attitude of, okay, I'm going to be here at least 3 years, and I want to learn from this person. I want to learn how they diagnose. I want to learn how to treat quickly, and I want to communicate with confidence. If they're eager to learn those things and you see progress, you can take that to the bank. That's usually a pretty good sign. So many of them looking for a paycheck, you know, I get that. But so with the younger people, it's all about attitude.
The other one other thing I would say about the younger people is you have to still be fully engaged. So there's a good 6 months, 3 to 6 months where you're reviewing charts, you're talking treatment planning with this doctor on a daily basis. And if you're not engaged and don't want to do that, yeah, you probably should go with one of the 2 other options we talked about. If you're not ready to kind of mentor them really and do it on a daily basis, yeah, this is not a good fit for you as an individual. So you'd want to steer clear of somebody just graduating because there is a ramp up period. Absolutely.
Let's go back, Wes, to our original premise of how we know they're winning. Let me explain. After 4 months at Whitehall, we've learned they'll be producing a certain amount. They can handle a certain number of new patients. There's certain metrics that they can be measured by within their first 4 months. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, by the end of the fourth, or some period in the 4th month, they should be producing about 3,000 a day. Sorry, 3,000 a day, and they should be able to do that really off of just 1 new patient a day, and somewhere around 8 hygiene checks a day. That's what you should expect from them. And a newer doctor, yeah, 4 months is the kind of the time frame that they should ramp up to that level. And that's the average. So they're going to have days at 5,000 and days at 1,000, but it needs to average 3,000. With somebody that is experienced, so the other 2 candidates, it'd be a little quicker. So certainly within 90 days, they should ramp up to that number. Anything less, if they're moving slower on the ramp up, I would look at patient flow. And if your patient flow is at the numbers I just gave you, it's them, not you. So you would definitely decide at that point whether this person's working out or not and what you can do about it.
A comment on that. It's a mathematical equation. You know, you can divide a line in half and divide that in half and divide that in half. Some doctors can improve marginally forever and never reach the goal. In other words, they keep getting a little better and a little better, but they never come across with the numbers that you just gave us. So watch for it. That's why Wes is kind of high, so am I, on the older doctor See, a lot of our doctors are thinking of semi-retirement. Makes them a good prospect for these older associates. You don't have to sit there and hold their hand.
Right.
If you're a younger doctor, you're really trying to ramp it up and you know you can keep an associate busy because you have the patient flow, you can do that. You can train them and make it all pay. Bring them in later as some kind of equity partner, et cetera. All kind of possibilities.
Yeah, that's kind of the good part about a younger doctor is the equity stuff is on the table for the most part. Want to own a practice, but be careful there. Don't get them as far as a red flag
Yeah.
with a younger doctor. Let's talk about that. When you interview them, you ask them, about ownership and how important that is to them. What's their time frames, timelines, and just let them talk. And if you get the sense that ownership is a kind of a do or die for it's so important to them. I got to own within a couple of years. That to me, that's if you kind of get that feeling, this is not the right person for you. In our model, the AWOL model, if that's the person that you're interviewing, I would move on. I wouldn't probably hire that person. We're looking for somebody that wants to learn, who wants to be an associate, is not ready for the next step of ownership immediately, still feels like they need to learn stuff. That's the candidate that we're looking for in our model. And we're looking for somebody that wants to be mentored and doesn't think they know everything already and wants to own in a year and a half.
I'll tell you, one of the things we look for is how strong the staff is. You were in baseball, you talk about the bench. How strong is the bench? We got some great players. If you got great staff who are open to an associate, and we really think they should be, as they face you slowing down, they can keep a full-time job. If you've got great staff, it widens the field of who can be a winning associate. They can be a little younger, they can be a little older. It kind of smooths that out.
Widening the field is everything. So, typically, I would say maybe 1 out of 20, maybe 1 out of 15 doctors will work in just about any practice. When I say work, will do well. You put them in any practice, they're going to do well because it's them. What we need to do is create systems and great team members and incentive packages where more than 1 out of 15 works out. It needs to be more like 10 out of 15 work out. And you do that through obviously training, systems, great team members, and working with that doctor. Part of what we do is work with the associate on their presentation, on their case presentation, and modify things, change their scripting so that they can hit that 3,000 a day. If you just let these associates go and you don't work with them, most of them will never hit it.
So important to have a threshold, meaning after 4 months to look really hard at the production of that employee, because everybody's got an excuse. Sometimes you'll even have staff that like the person and they have an excuse for them. There's not many excuses that are better than 4 months of in-field training, or in-field experience. So let's call that a day. There's some guidelines on who to hire, who not to hire, and how to proceed.
Yep, sounds good. All right, thanks for listening.
Thank you.